Welcome to Mending Threads, your safe place and your stronghold for whole body wellness. We have a show this morning. We're going to talk about mood, food, and wellness at mealtime. And I want you to think about that because we've been talking about the issues of mental health. And this is a move to look at how to take not only control of your mood, but to really begin to look at who you are in the moment. And we can take charge of our health. And so when you have your beliefs, whatever you're moving toward actually confirms, recognizes, and expresses what we believe. I'm a work in progress, and we're going to talk about all of this today on our show. We have with us again Doc Walker from the Urban Research and Resource Center, and we have with us our own chef from the Solstice Restaurant to talk about food and to show us methods of preparing food and moving toward foods that actually bring about good mood and whole body wellness. Look forward to having you with us today and a good show. Good morning. We have with us two guests this morning. We have Dr. Walker, I call him Doc Walker, from the Urban Research and Resource Center at Texas Southern University. And also, I wanted to say this, is that he is expert or experienced at cultural background, historical knowledge and implementation in terms of community awareness. And I want to say he's also a well-esteemed pastor in the community. So we have us a well-rounded person that's going to talk to us. Today we want to focus on healing at mealtime for mental health healing at mealtime. Now we have been talking about mental health. It has been in the forefront not only this month, but really in the past so many months, particularly because we're faced with the COVID-19 and people are having an unawareness or expectation of it getting worse and the impending of uncertainty. And we also have with us an increase in violence, anger, and it has been going on for a very long time. Most of it has been internal, and now there are outward expressions. Today, we want to look at how food can possibly help that, and also begin to look at things as it relates to stress and anxiety. So now stress has been around, as I've been saying, a long time. But stress is environmental. It can be environmental. It can be brought about or induced because of situations that we're encountering in the moment. So now when stress occurs, we perceive different things, and our perceptions come about many times because of the things that we've experienced in the past and a history of many different experiences and how we perceive what's going on in this very moment. So it can be family-oriented ways of reinforcing our thoughts. So now when we have anxiety, the neural things go on in the brain. I don't even want to get technical. We've talked about the changing in the neurotransmitters and how that then affects and changes and rewires our brain emotionally to handle the current situation, even for us to deal with this situation. When in fact stress stays around so long and the situations are not changing, or the person has experienced a series of stressors, and when the stressor then leaves the situation and the person is still experiencing that stress, anxiety, maybe reactions or hair breakage, skin breakage, anger, intense, these things then are called, when it's prolonged, then it's called chronic anxiety as it moves because of the traumatic situation. It's trauma then, okay? So now when it moves to a deep sense of trauma, you also have the recalling of that situation after it has moved. So you can actually see the situation, you relive the situation. Today, Doc Walker and I are going to talk about some things like food could heal. And then later on, we're going to have Chef Kelly join us and look at preparing some of the food as we further discuss it. Okay, so one of the things that I want to say is that mood um, begins to help us understand how food gets connected. There's some foods, and we were speaking earlier off camera about probiotic foods, fermented foods. And so we had a young lady who had a deep headache, and she was talking about repeated headaches. And I was saying, now I know some things that we used to talk about. We used to talk about fermented foods and how that would help the digestive system as well as heads, like pickled cabbage. And I'm sure, Dr. Walker, you're going to join in and talk to a little bit about help me understand some of these things culturally speaking. So I know that we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I'll never forget. When I was in college, and just growing up, I suffered from horrible, horrible migraines. And I remember one day I was sitting in the African American Studies room uh, with another headache, just killing me. And I had just finished eating a pepperoni pizza, and my friend, a good friend of mine, came in. I told him what was going on. He said, "Well, have you ever thought about not eating pork? Pepperoni's pork." I said, "What does that have to do with anything?" He said, um, "From his studies, it was linked directly to headaches." I stopped eating pork, and since that day, which was, I'm talking about the late '80s, I probably only had one or two headaches since. Just by making that change.
Hmm.
But in terms of food and how it impacts us, it impacts our mood, our mental and emotional well-being. It impacts our physical health, and a lot of that, you can call it cultural, but it's also systemic and institutional in terms of, white supremacy. The food deserts that are in our communities then give rise to a dependence upon fast foods, which is actually killing us rather than building us up. But in terms of culture and food, man, I found some great resources. There's this one honors thesis from the University of Tennessee. It's by, I don't know if it's Kayla or Kalah, Kalah Vance. The name of the thesis is Culture, Food, and Racism: The Effects on African American Health. And the points that this person makes in this thesis is culture can be influenced by a number of things, of course, food being one of them. Cultural food staples have often traveled from their country of origin and integrated into the cuisine of another culture, like America. Enslaved Africans, for example, used their knowledge of West African heritage to give birth to soul food. But the adaptations that were made in the food practices during enslavement decreased the nutritional value of what was a previously very healthy West African diet, West African dishes. And after creating this relatively unhealthy food culture through enslavement, Black folk, we continue to face persecution at the hands of the government and society at large, institutional racism, etc., during Jim Crow and after. And that we were forced into conditions that reduced our access to resources like housing and education, breeds uh, poverty, which then reduces our ability to access healthy food. So it's all related. And then the issues become obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases. I don't know if you remember the movie Soul Food,
Yes, yes.
um, and I don't know if you're familiar with the TV show Boondocks, but in the TV show The Boondocks by Aaron McGruder, there's one particular episode entitled The Itis, and it's all about Black folk and food. Um, and the main character, he's a young man named Huey Freeman. His grandfather opens up a soul food restaurant and it becomes very, very popular. But one of the chefs uh, tells the people, says, "Hey man, you know, we really shouldn't be eating this stuff. This stuff, the origins of us eating chitlins and everything that we call soul food, pigtails and pig snout and hog maws and all that stuff, that was what Massive threw out. And so it was literally survival food. But in the movie Soul Food, and this episode of Boondocks also makes this point, in the movie Soul Food, uh, a black woman or Big Mama dies from a food related ailment. And
Yeah.
then the family comes together to mourn her and to celebrate her by eating the very same food that killed her. And
Yes.
that is black people and black culture in a nutshell. And the last point I'll make is from this episode of the Itis, Huey Freeman, the main character, says, "Look, if there is something in our culture that is killing us, we have to change the culture. We can't just keep doing it simply because it's culture. Like whenever we have a repast, when we come together to mourn and celebrate the life of a loved one, let's stop serving food that's killing us."
Yeah.
And like you said, we also have a rich tradition of doing things with food, how we prepare it, and what we eat that was healthy for us. So
Yeah.
let's throw out the negative parts of our food culture that's killing us and reconnect to the positive parts that heal us, like kale, spinach, kelp, all those things. Black folk, we've been eating that, rich in
Yeah.
calcium, magnesium, potassium. Just do great things for us. Ginger, a great spice, reduces nausea. That's just one of the great
That's
things
right.
it does. Mushrooms, healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, walnuts, almonds, pecans, beets. They energize you, instant energy. Instead of drinking that those monster drinks and stuff that's literally killing the insides of our bodies, beets are something that's natural.
Mm.
Then there was something that's called the African Heritage Diet Pyramid that gives us a plan for eating that is way healthier, and it connects us back to um, more ancient ways of the way we
I wish you would
view it.
bring that to us sometime. I wish you would bring that pyramid to us sometime so we
I'll
could.
send it to you today.
Okay, yeah, so we could really look at that. And I know that my grandmother used to do more things like pumpkin and um, she would bake, and people don't like it, but she would mix it with sweet potato. But
Hmm.
she was saying you had to have it. It tasted like sweet potato, but it had a little something in it. But she was saying how good pumpkin and squash, and she would mix it together. You had no idea that the squash was in there, and I didn't know that she did not know chemistry, but she was trying to add in magnesium, which we needed in our body. And so there were so many things. And she would go out, and I was looking here where she had, I was looking at some stuff. Okay, so one of the things that I saw, I didn't understand how she added, she would grind up seeds.
Hmm.
She would go out to the woods and come back. And when she'd come back, she would have all these green looking things. She made a salad and cooked it. I didn't know that she was picking these things that I see. What do you call it? Oh, it's a name for something. Like they used to call it poke salad or something.
Mm.
Some kind of leafy green vegetable that they would get out in the wild. And they would come back and she would prepare it. She would bake it and use it as a digestive thing for you
Mm.
to cleanse your system.
But there are all kinds of things that our people did.
Yes.
My father will tell you in a minute. Back in the day, his people are from Grenada, Mississippi, but he grew up in Cincinnati, and he would always talk about how poor they were, and greens are a relatively low cost meal. But he said, we didn't have money for that. So what we would do, we would go out and pick dandelions, and our parents would make dandelion greens. So we know about food and survival,
Yes.
but also I think we probably know more than we even realize we know. Like what you were talking about when you were talking about your grandmother and your aunts, it reminded me of George Washington Carver. He said every day, every morning, he used to just simply walk through nature and listen to what the plants told him. Isn't that powerful? He
Yes.
said he would walk through the woods and allow the plants to talk to him and let him know what their nutritional value and properties were. That's how he was able to make so many different um, food products, not just peanut butter, but all the things that
Yes.
he did with soybean and this,
Yes.
that, and the other. That was incredible. That literally saved hundreds of thousands of lives
Mhm.
because he was just simply in tune with nature, which is a whole another subject that we probably need to get on at some future
I
point.
think
Getting
so.
back to nature.
and look at different teas. And I think next time, sometime we want to begin to look at how different teas could heal and how we can go back and can certain foods. And I have talked the chef into helping us with canning foods. So we
Excellent.
are going to have a thing where we, on the weekends, we're going to have a tent camp, and we're going to look at how to live and survive and begin to rethink life. So that's what we're going to be calling it, repurposing. We're still going to be looking at repurposing
And
situations.
can I just throw one other thing in?
Yes,
Because
yes,
my wife has exposed me to this, but bromide and sea moss, and there's so
yes.
many things out there that are natural and good and that will help our minds, bodies, and spirits. One good place, if you want to do a one-stop shop, you want to go to Brother Sunshine's place on OST. He's
Mhm.
got so many just really positive, healthy products that you can use.
Products in there. That's right. That is true. That's true. And I go there often. I love to go in there and talk. And then if you can catch him on Saturdays, sometimes we just sit there and talk for hours. And I learn
Yeah,
so much every time.
yeah,
So one of the things that I wanted to share this one story, and then we're going to um, look at see if the chef is about ready. Is when my husband was ill and he had cancer, and we took him to what the doctor that works with us, Dr. Atkins, and a doctor that Dr. Atkins works with out in North Houston, and another herbalist, and we put together. And what I wanted to say is, so they had given him pretty much like a few months to live, and the chef downstairs had prepared the food that they recommended, in a manner way, and juiced it, and Dr. Atkins looked at the food, and we went out there. And guess what? We came out that really helped him. So
what?
this was years before he died. He lived pretty much like 5 years, and
Mm,
they expected 3 months. But suppose we had known this before.
yeah.
So they gave him sea urchin, everything from under the sea. When you said sea moss, that's what it reminded me of, and different
Mm,
things. So they went in there and they grinded up stuff and they created solutions. He said he felt so different. So what
mm,
it was doing, it was healing the inflammation in the cell.
yeah.
And I think to this day, if we had not tried this experimental treatment, that he might have, because he was gaining his strength, and you could see it in his face. His body was healing, and so I
Hmm.
went back to study this. So all of this was healing his cells and helping his cells to regenerate.
Yeah.
That's what was going on. So that lets me know now, and this is why I'm studying this. I'm really trying to study how to regenerate, how to heal the body by rethinking, which you really have to rethink situations in order to accept it so that
Mm,
your body can consume it, because otherwise using, you will continue, like if you stopped using pork. So if you didn't rethink that and connect to that experience, you would still be eating it. And so
yeah.
that's one thing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate understanding that. So let's see if we can get the chef downstairs to see if she's pretty much ready. So I wanted you to repeat again. I wanted to find out about the book that you were speaking about.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it was a an honors thesis out of the University of Tennessee, and like I said, the name of the author was either Kayla or Kalah, Kalah,
Mm-hmm.
Batra Vance, and the name of the thesis is, and you can Google this: Culture, Food, and Racism: The Effects on African American Health.
Okay
Um,
then.
and just a lot of really good information. So
Okay, we're ready.
she ties culture and how we uh, took West African uh, food dishes. Uh, we brought that with us to the Americas during enslavement, but the changes that we made in preparing the food made something that was very healthy into something that ended up being unhealthy for us. And through institutional racism and otherwise, there were all these
It
there were
would be
all these things that impacted us in terms of us accessing healthy food sources.
so I'm interested in understanding um, what made that transition, what brought on the transition. Okay, so if we receive certain foods, for example, let me say it this way. I remember that my aunt and my grandmother told me about tomatoes, and that when that their grandmother, my great great grandmother told them about that, and said when her mother was a slave, that they told them that they were not allowed to have peaches.
Hmm.
And what they did was they learned to prepare tomatoes as if it tastes like peaches.
Wow.
So and so what they did was they would put sugar on tomatoes and let it stand,
Hmm.
and then put flavoring in it, and they would simmer it and then put it in a crust. And it tasted like, so we tried it and it did. We use our recipe. I have a recipe,
Wow.
and it tastes just like a peach cobbler.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
That,
right.
that sounds like us, though, right?
Yes. Uh-huh. So now the unhealthy part, I'm trying to look at the foods to see how I guess they got rid of certain parts of the animal. So I wonder, how did we take something from what we knew? And we used to eat seeds and we prepare animals. So what did we do? Did you
Well,
read?
I would think, um, and this doesn't come from research on the specific issue, but I would think that when you are working from sunup, from can see to can't see, when you got all that stress, um, I mean, my wife works and she does magic in her cooking, but um, and you know how we talk about love being put into the meal, but when you are faced with nonstop stress and trauma every single day, there's no way that that doesn't affect, impact
Yes,
food that you are preparing. And so
yes,
it's not only the fact that we were eating the parts of the pig, the cow, whatever that was thrown on massa's floor, um,
yes,
and but um, we were only able to eat the vegetables that we could grow. But how much time were we able to tend
yes.
our own gardens when we're
Mhm.
spending 90% of our day building up quote unquote massive wealth? And so all those things had to impact our food and soul food. Just, I mean, we always use the term soul food, but
Yes.
let me break it down. And this comes from
Click
another
on your link.
article entitled Soul Food, A Brief History. And this comes from African American Registry. And I
Mhm.
think it's important that we give resources and give props to people who have done research. But soul food: biscuits, black eyed peas, butter beans, catfish, chicken livers,
Mhm.
chitlins, chow chow, which I've heard of. I don't think I've ever had chow chow. I've had everything else on here.
Oh, I'm gonna have to make you some. I don't know if I still have some I made last year or not.
Make me some chow chow then.
That's
Um,
right. Mhm.
collard greens, turnip greens, ham hocks, crackling or pork rinds, fatback, fried fish, hog maw, hog head cheese, neck bones, okra, lima beans, macaroni and cheese, milk and bread, which was called po folks dessert in a glass. And
Right.
when you started talking about tomatoes being made to taste like peaches, that's what I thought of, because we didn't have access to desserts. So
That's
we
right. That's
created our own desserts,
right.
sweet potatoes, all these things, soul food. Um, and, we are addicted to it because it's been so
Yes.
much a part of our culture. But
Yes.
like Huey Freeman said, if there's aspects of our culture that are killing us, we need to change the culture. And if there are aspects of our culture that we're healing and uplifting, we need to reconnect to those. And I think that's what that pyramid. Let me get the name of it again. The African Heritage Diet Pyramid. That's what that talks about. Not. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because on that pyramid, the base of it is, of course, Well, the base of it is actually living a healthy lifestyle. So it's being in community,
Yes,
it's exercising,
yes,
it's having fun. That's the base of the pyramid is our lifestyle, and
yes,
then right above that is greens, all the different types of greens. Then
right,
above that are other fruits and
mhm,
vegetables.
right,
Then, and as you go up the pyramid, you're eating less and less. Then the
right,
next level is whole grains. The next level are herbs and spices and
mhm,
traditional sauces. The next level, uh, fish. The next level above that are eggs, poultry, and other meats.
yes,
Then just a little bit of dairy, and at the
yes,
top of it is sweets, just a little bit of sweets. Now on the side it says whatever you're doing, drink, 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 drink water,
mhm,
water, 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 as much water as humanly possible. So the African heritage diet pyramid for us, and probably for all people, is probably far more healthy than the USDA
right,
pyramids
yeah,
that we get sold and taught
yeah.
in school.
Well, I think one of the things I saw the chef trying to come on, and we're hoping that she's ready to come on. Because I wanted to say, I'm going to bring you the chow chow because what it is they said chow chow. If I'm gonna look to see if I have a jar left, if you have a headache or something and you feel a little tired,
Hmm.
if you eat the chow chow, I did not
Hmm.
know it really had a medical um, effect. And what it does is it's like when you have the headache, it's like your vessels are expanding. And so
Wow.
when you eat the chow chow, it actually narrow is actually expands what is it the art the come on I don't know the so anyway one of the things are expanding in your head, and
Hmm.
what it does and the blood is trying to push through through the neuro when the blood is going through. So my understanding is that it opens when it's narrowing and constricting is when
Hmm.
your headache. So this here then opens and allows your body cleanses the internal area and opens it so that the body can function. So that lets you know we need to have some of that at every meal.
Yeah, yeah. And so many things, garlic,
Yes,
ginger, turmeric. These things not only taste good, but they're healthy. And if you have children that may not like them, these are things that can be added to your meals, and they're eating healthier even without realizing they're eating healthier. And one other thing I'll share is watermelon. Watermelon um, is not only great tasting, but it will keep you regular. Um,
that's right. Yes.
and watermelon um, was turned into a symbol of black laziness. But what's ironic about that is when after quote unquote emancipation, black people um, they didn't have access to grow a whole lot of things, but what we could grow was watermelons. So watermelons actually became our source of self reliance and self determination, growing,
Yes.
selling watermelons. So it became a symbol of empowerment for Black people, and
Mhm.
and jealous, hateful
Right.
whites at that time saw that and
Right.
took a symbol of empowerment and flipped it on itself to make it
Mm-hmm.
the symbol that it is today. And so you have some black folk who are ashamed of buying or eating watermelons. That's not me. I will buy a watermelon and eat it in a minute in anybody's face because number one, it tastes good. Number two, to hell with folk in there uh, that they can't see the greatness in me or the greatness in us.
Uh-huh.
But I just find that really interesting how a symbol of empowerment for black people was taken by others and twisted and used against us. And we got to take it back.
Well, one thing I already have it. I love it. I I love it. If I could just get that, I know it's an unhealthy thing to think about, but when I do that, I feel good. It tastes good, and I don't eat a whole lot of heavy food. I love that.
And,
Okay, so
and
I can have
interestingly
that.
enough, watermelon is red, black, and green, just like the colors of
Yeah.
the
Okay. Well, we have with us
Can
Dr.
you hear me?
Yes, we're ready for
Okay,
you
great.
too. we just got finished talking about, I want to introduce to the audience that we have with us our chef, Shirley Kelly, who you've been seeing, and those of you who participated in our wellness programs recognize her food. With the Solstice Restaurant, she's now located at 2626 South Loop West, and also in your home because she also caters as well. And you'll be able to see her in all of the churches coming up in the near future, and that she's partnering with the Imani Faith Health Initiative. So we're looking forward to that. And Doc Walker has been speaking about, we have been talking about the cultural aspects of food. I don't know if you can widen your screen so we can see your face too.
Yeah, let me raise it up a little bit. Hold on.
And then because I see you preparing something, and in that I am in the building today, I am sure that this recipe that you're preparing, I might have to come down and taste it for my
Yeah.
lunch. That's
Yeah,
right.
this is one of the dishes that we have on the menu. So
Today,
I'm
that's
just
right.
prepping.
That's right.
Mhm.
Very good. This one.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you now.
Let me raise it a little bit more.
Okay, so can you
Or you
tell
may
us?
have to step back or lower yourself so we can.
Yes, step back. Yes, okay then. Very good. Thank you so much. So,
Hmm.
can you share with us the dish that you're going to prepare today? And we
Okay, the dish is
about mental health
it's
healing
a
at mealtime. Mhm.
pardon.
We're talking about mental health healing at mealtime and vegetables
Okay.
or foods. Mhm.
The dish is called, it's a sesame kale dish. Um, and the ingredients is, of course, raw kale. Um, I'm gonna have to bring that camera down a little bit so y'all can see.
Mhm.
Raw kale. We have crushed garlic, uh, and grated carrots, a little bit of lemon juice, and we kind of dredge it in olive oil. We massage it in olive oil, and then the crowning touch is the toasted sesame seed oil, which gives it that, you know, that sesame flavor.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna lower it a little bit, so
Okay.
y'all may have to.
We know that we're dealing with the COVID and we're all in different places trying to
Yeah.
continue. So yes.
Okay, let me lower it so y'all can see
So we'll
what
pick.
I'm doing here.
Yes.
Okay, my face is gonna cut out, but you
That's
know.
okay. That's okay. We'll look at you later.
Okay, so can you see it, or do you want me
Yes,
to lower
yes,
it a
I
little
can
bit
see
more?
it. So I can see it a little bit. Yes,
You can
that's
see
good.
it.
That's good. Yes, that's good.
Okay. So the first thing that we're gonna do, and this is a simple dish that I mean you can prepare. It's a great raw dish, and of course, raw is always better because you got your nutrients. Everything is there, you know. Okay, so um, we're gonna dredge it in a little bit of olive oil. This is a process. You're taking it. Can you see?
Yes.
And I'm massaging it so that the more I massage it in the olive oil,
It kind of goes all through the leaf, the going through the leaf of the vegetables.
the more tender
Yes.
the kale becomes. I'm just going to put a little bit more olive oil in there.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so let me just raise it up here. So as you can see, as I massage,
I do. I see it.
right, the kale is beginning to be a little bit more tender. Okay. So now at this point, I'm gonna I'm gonna put a little bit of lemon juice in here.
Hmm.
Okay. You're just gonna squeeze half of a lemon, not a whole lot. This is half of a lemon is quite good for one bunch of kale.
So I
Okay.
from our talk this morning, then this is also giving us what B6, B12, and all that natural and
Right.
mm-hmm.
And being that this is a green vegetable, it's full of vitamin K, it's
Yes.
full of chlorophyll, everything that we need, to keep our immune system up, to raise our vibration, everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the shredded carrots in here. And you can do what you want. You can add tomatoes, you can add tomatoes. You can add a little onion in there if you want. Okay, just be creative with it. Okay, and so we got that going. So we're gonna put the garlic in here. I have my garlic press here. Okay, and I love fresh garlic.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic also is a great herb for inflammation.
Yes.
It also helps to boost the immune system. I mean, garlic has so many great properties.
And also, people who are concerned, it also helps you. I found out last night, people who are concerned about their nails and trying to go natural. I found out you eat garlic and you rub garlic on your fingernails, and it helps strengthens your nails.
Right, exactly. But let me state one thing, because I was follow Dr. Sabi. I'm sure y'all familiar with Dr. Sabi. Dr. Sabi, and I agree with him. Garlic is good. Garlic is an excellent herb, but you can't consume too much garlic.
That's right.
You have to be really conservative with garlic.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you consume too much of it, then it becomes a detriment.
Ah.
So this is something that we have to be aware of as well.
One or two cloves. Mm-hmm.
So okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of my ingredients in here. We're gonna put about maybe a tablespoon of toasted sesame oil.
Oh.
Okay, okay, that's about a tablespoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so we're gonna massage it again.
Uh-huh. Now, how many cups do you have in that pan of kale?
Of kale, I have about 1.5 bunch.
Okay then.
Because kale, the small bunch. So
Yes.
Just put about 1.5 bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it up real good. Okay. So you see it?
Yes.
So far?
Yes.
So this is a beautiful dish.
Yes.
And I like color. I love color and that's my logo. My logo has a lot of color. But that's a statement to the fact that I love color in my food.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so now the final ingredient is the Himalayan sea salt.
Okay.
And I did it, it's not, it's in a little thing where you have to crush it. So I just crush a little bit.
Yes.
Around,
yes.
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
Not a whole lot. Okay. And then of course, I keep saying Himalayan pink salt is an excellent salt because it actually lowers the blood pressure, versus regular salt that raises the blood pressure. I love to keep reiterating that. That is so important for, to know about Himalayan pink salt. Okay. So, like I said, you can put whatever other ingredients you want in here. Tomato, radish, You can put, just what other,
Mhm.
just what other vegetable you want to put in.
So Chef Kelly,
You
once
just
you
be creative.
once you made something and it looked like you made this dish, and then you made a pastry type situation and looked like you had tomatoes and you put this inside of that. What did you put in there? And you folded this pastry over and looked like to me you kind of
Okay, yeah. It was like just like a puff pastry. It's like a puff pastry that
that
you
you
can
baked or
stuff.
something,
Pardon?
like you bake and then you baked it or
And then
fried
I bake it. Yeah,
this. I
yeah.
see.
That was that spinach, uh, spinach puff pastry. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, well that was so good. So now,
yeah. And I
mhm,
think I'm gonna have like weekly specials here at the restaurant, and a lot. I may include that as a weekly, as a
yes,
special one
you
day.
let me know when you
You
do
know,
that. That was good. And your raw okra and tomato dish with onions and whatever in there, that was awesome.
right,
I
Chef
right.
I
Chef
would
Kelly,
yes.
Chef Kelly, you mentioned earlier that raw is better.
Okay, I can't hear you. I'm gonna have to turn you up a little bit. Let me see.
you mentioned earlier that raw food is better. Why is that? Can you explain that to people?
Okay, because it's full of enzymes. It is great for body metabolism because, and as I stated with Dr. Lewis before, like a lot of restaurants, they bring you your salad first, your raw dish first. You put it in you eat it. So that actually what it does is, like I said, it's great for the metabolism. It's great for breaking down your fats. It's great for breaking down your protein. It breaks it down to the point where it separates the nutritional properties. Uh, it keeps it in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else it flushes out. That's why it's so important to consume raw vegetables and fruits because it helps with your body metabolism. It breaks down your fats, your carbs, your protein. I'll get that in a minute. Okay, your protein. Okay, and it really creates a really good um, set in the body to the point where you're keeping all of your nutrients and flushing out everything else that the body does not need.
So one thing you're saying without saying is too often we are cooking out a lot of the nutrients from our vegetables because we cook them and overcook them. A lot of the nutrients that vegetables have get lost in the
Yeah,
cooking process.
right. They're depleted in the cooking process. That's why and then I try to tell a lot of people that if you cook your vegetables, just steam it a little bit. Don't cook it to the point where you know you've cooked out all of the nutrients.
So in terms of development, because culturally speaking, we acquire a taste over a
Right.
period of time. So it is
Exactly.
important to, I call it repurposing and redeveloping. So one of the things that we could do is begin to do this with our children earlier on is
Exactly.
to make
Because
food from the foods, give them that taste. You know how you blend it just like you're juicing or something,
right.
the baby food. And we need to start looking at that if we're going to really look at developing our children and the future generations, and as well
Exactly.
as ourselves, to look at steaming food. Try to do one
Exactly.
dish at every
And
meal. Mm-hmm.
in doing this COVID, all of this COVID mess,
Mm-hmm.
it's good to get them acclimated into consuming more raw dishes
Yes.
and and it can be done creatively,
Yeah. Now, what would
because
you
a lot of children, they run away from vegetables and especially raw.
So what?
But one thing that I found out, if they are helping you out in the kitchen
Yes.
while you're preparing the food,
Yes.
um, and that's strange. If they're helping you prepare it, they'll eat it.
They'll
No
eat it.
matter if it's raw or, you know, they'll
Mm-hmm.
eat it because they help prepare it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. They're
So,
attached to. They're invested in it. Yes.
right.
Yes. Well, I
So,
wanted to know what are you
yeah.
going to serve with that today? What are you
Pardon?
What are you going to serve?
No, this is just this is just a salad that's on the menu. This is a plain salad.
Okay. What
You
could you
know,
serve with that? If we were going to have a healthy meal.
but okay. Mm, wow. You could maybe have a real good sweet potato on the side. And for those who maybe may eat in a nice, maybe a chicken dish or
A
something like that.
little salmon or something.
Or yeah, maybe a salmon. Oh yeah, salmon is excellent with
Yes.
sesame
Mhm.
kale.
Mhm.
Oh wow, there's so many different dishes that you can add. Maybe a good casserole dish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So earlier we were talking about chow chow, and we had talked about. I know the time is moving on because we have to be finished in just a minute. But I do want to say that you've talked about something good today. You're emphasizing raw and steamed foods to heal
Hmm.
our bodies for mental health,
Right.
and also the research has shown. I'm looking at some research here that's talking about. The importance of eating just even your meats like salmon, baked
Yeah.
chicken, to make sure that you do not boil the food and cook it where it is just falling apart. You know how we say, "Oh, it's just falling apart," but
Right.
it has to have maintained the character of the meat itself
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
order for it.
Hmm.
That's when you know that it's going to be digestible and you're going to
That's
get
gonna
all the
that's gonna
enzymes
be
or whatever.
digested.
Right.
Right.
So one of the things that we've gotten out of the thing today is Doc Walker talked about us moving to look at. We're going to look at the hierarchy of foods differently, and we're going to begin
Hmm.
to eat more grains and more leafy green
Exactly.
vegetables. That when we pride ourselves in who we are as people and human beings, that we have to then preserve what has been given to us and use it to its fullest potential. And
Exactly.
when we are awakened in this, doesn't it's the awakening at the moment in time and resonating with that this
Hmm.
is something important. And so we have
Exactly.
to begin to look at all the words that we say to discount it. Like I've always done this, or
Hmm.
that's not all of that important, or this is
Hmm.
quicker to get to eat. So anytime that we do that, we should then start using some other words like I'm selling myself out. I'm destroying my body. I have chosen to do that. Taking responsibility for
Right.
that. And I know I'm working on it every day because I'm a work in progress, as they said. Because
Right.
I
Yeah.
love
And I am too.
yes, I
Even
love
at my age, you know, I am I'm constantly, learning and
yeah,
growing. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because a lot of people were like, well, oh wow, you're up in age and you just opening up a business. And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? You know?
Hey, well, they tell me you should have been at home long time ago, Dr. Lewis. You know your time is up. And I go like, well,
Really? I'm like, what
I
time? My time is up when I'm in the grave.
thought
That's
I
it.
was trying to share wisdom. Forgive me. I thought I was in the Erickson's generativity stage, whatever it is. But anyway, we have to respect our elders. And as an
Exactly.
elder, then I am to what? I am to lead and demonstrate. So that tells me
Exactly.
that I really need to start practicing what we said today. And so, Doc
Yeah,
Walker,
we all have a part to play,
I am going to look at the vegetables. I'm going to look at your pyramid. We're going to study this thing. And
Exactly.
the Solstice restaurant, everybody, please come and visit. And
Where? What's the address?
oh,
So
Okay,
folk
the
know where it
address
is.
is, and I hadn't started
Give us the
advertising
hours.
yet. I've been so busy trying to
Give
get,
us the hours.
but 2626 South Loop West, Suite 101,
What's the zip code?
77054.
Okay.
And what are your hours? What are your hours?
The hours, right now I'm open from 8 to 4.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. Okay, then.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Yeah.
get still, I'm still looking for, we're going to do a cooking experience. We've been talking about it and doing canning and other kinds of stuff like that, food prep and canning. So thank you, everybody, for being there waving, saying the time is up. Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is awesome. And I want to say, Doc Walker, I've gotten a lot of calls thanking you for this last show particularly. Okay, then. And so what I want everybody to do is to send us a note on our website. Okay, and I will share that with you at wrc-houston.com and tell us what you think about, she's going to have her recipe posted and
I'm going to send that to you.
coming week. And then Doc Walker is going to have a pyramid that we should follow that will be on the website. And I'm looking forward to that. So I hope everybody have a good week, and I'll be down shortly today for
Thank you. You all too.
Great.
Great seeing you, Reverend Aswad.
Hey. All right.
Okay.
And thank you, Dr. Lewis, for just conferring upon me a PhD. I appreciate that.
That's all right. That's not the doc. They always call persons that you respect their knowledge in the community, in the hood, in the community.
Well, bless you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Have a great day now.
All right. You too.
Okay. Oh, thank you for being with us today. We had an awesome discussion, and I know that we're discussing stuff, but we're discussing the real deal. We're talking about how to live your life, how to think about what it is. So rather than take a partnership with anxiety and trauma, we're looking at how to transcend. And we're looking at transcending through food, something that we do every day and at mealtime. So I want you to take stock of what we're talking about. And when you prepare your next meal, look at preparing it in a manner that's going to reserve the nutrients that has been given to us within the food, as opposed to what? Destroying and minimizing the nutrients. So when you think about anxiety and stress, think about the foods that you can use to heal anxiety and stress, as opposed to think of food as your medicine, as opposed to drugs and plastics and medication. Okay, so let's move toward that, and look on our website, wrc-houston.com, for the recipes to come, and also sign up to support the children's food prep program. Please donate or sign up as a patron to do that and sponsor a child in the food prep program. Okay then, and we'll look forward to talking with you then. So here's this: renew beliefs, rebuild faith, and reconnect with families and communities. For it is not the circumstances that we meet, it is the manner that we respond that determines health, happiness, and success. And I'll see you all next week. Thank you.